The morning sun painted the brick walls of Riverside High School in golden light, but inside the main office, tension filled the air like thick fog. Principal Williams straightened his tie for the third time, checking his watch nervously. Today was different. Today, everything would change. A soft hum echoed through the hallway, growing louder with each passing second. Students pressed their faces against classroom windows, phones already recording. The sound was unlike anything they had ever heard before, melodic, almost musical, like wind chimes dancing in a gentle breeze. Then she appeared. Zara glided through the automatic doors on what looked like a chair made of pure starlight. Her skin had a soft blue glow, almost see-through, like looking at the ocean on a clear day. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, filled with swirling silver patterns that seemed to move on their own. She wore simple earth clothes, jeans, and a hoodie, but nothing could hide what she truly was. The first alien student to ever attend a human school. The hover chair moved without wheels. Floating 3 inches off the ground, tiny lights danced. Around its edges, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat, students in the hallway stopped walking, some dropping their books, others grabbing their friends' arms and pointing. "Welcome to Earth," Principal Williams said, his voice shaking slightly. He had practiced this moment for weeks, but seeing her in person made everything feel surreal. Zara's voice came out soft and musical, with an accent that sounded like flowing water. "Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here." In the corner of the office sat a boy named Alex Rivera, a quiet junior who kept to himself. He had been called in to be Zara's student guide, though he had no idea why the school had chosen him. Alex was the kind of student who ate lunch alone, who finished his homework on time but never raised his hand in class. He was invisible, and he liked it that way. "Alex will show you around," Principal Williams said, gesturing toward the boy. "He knows the school better than anyone." Alex stood up slowly, his hands sweating. He had never been responsible for another person before, especially not someone who came from another planet. "Hi," he said simply, not knowing what else to say. Zara turned toward him, and for a moment, Alex felt something strange happen. It was like a gentle touch inside his mind, warm and curious. Her eyes widened slightly, and she pulled back whatever she had been doing. "I apologize," she said quickly. "Sometimes my thoughts reach out without permission. I will be more careful." The first bell rang, and the hallway outside exploded with movement. Hundreds of students poured out of classrooms, rushing to their next period. Alex opened the office door, and the wave of sound hit them like a wall. "She's really here," someone whispered. "Look at her chair thing. Is that really her skin color? Take a picture. Take a picture." Alex felt his stomach tighten. He had hoped they could move through the halls quietly, but that was impossible now. Every student they passed stopped to stare. Some looked amazed, others confused, and a few looked scared. Near the lockers, a group of popular students had gathered. Their leader, Derek Martinez, was the kind of guy who owned every room he walked into. Star of the football team, class president, the person everyone wanted to be friends with. He stood with his arms crossed, watching Zara approach. "So this is our new student," Derek said, his voice carrying across the hallway. His friends snickered behind him. "Her name is Zara," Alex said quietly, surprising himself with his boldness. Derek's eyes shifted to Alex, and his smile turned cold. "Oh, look, the ghost finally speaks." He used the nickname some students had given Alex because of how quietly he moved through school. Zara's chair stopped moving. Alex could see her hands gripping the armrests, though she tried to hide it. The silver patterns in her eyes spun faster, like storms gathering strength. "Tell me, space girl," Derek continued, "what exactly happened to your legs? Did you crash land or something?" The hallway went quiet. Students pretended to look at their phones or dig through their lockers, but everyone was listening. Alex felt his face burning with embarrassment and anger, but he didn't know what to do. "I can move just fine," Zara said, her voice steady despite the hurt Alex could see in her eyes. "This device helps me navigate in your gravity, right?" Derek laughed. "So you're basically broken, even for an alien. one of his friends. A girl named Brittany held up her phone. "This is going to get so many views," she whispered, but loud enough for everyone to hear. Alex watched as Zara's glow seemed to dim slightly. Whatever confidence she had walked in with was fading fast. He wanted to say something, to tell Derek, to stop, but the words stuck in his throat like glue. The second bell rang, saving them from the moment. Students scattered to their classes, but Alex could hear the whispers following them down the hall. "Did you see how blue she was? That chair thing is so weird. Why would they send us a broken alien in their first class together, biology?" Zara took the seat next to Alex. The teacher, Mrs. Patterson, welcomed her warmly and asked if she wanted to share anything about her home planet with the class. "My world is called Catelia," Zara said, her voice gaining strength. "We live in floating cities above crystal forests. Our people can naturally control gravity, which is why I need this device on your world." A student in the back row raised his hand. "So what's wrong with you then? Why can't you do the gravity thing?" Alex saw Zara's shoulders tense. "I was injured," she said simply, "but I am still capable of learning and contributing." During lunch, Alex led Zara to the cafeteria. The room fell silent as they entered, hundreds of eyes following their every move. Alex grabbed a tray and started loading it with food, trying to act normal while his heart pounded. "What do you eat?" he asked Zara. "We can eat most human foods," she replied, "though we prefer things that grow in crystal soil. We don't have that here," Alex said, trying to make a joke. For the first time that day, Zara smiled. It was small, but it made her whole face light up. "I brought supplements, but I would like to try your pizza." They found an empty table in the corner, away from the main crowd. As they ate, Alex noticed how Zara would sometimes stop mid-bite, her eyes going distant. When he asked about it, she explained that she could sense emotions from people nearby. "It must be overwhelming," Alex said. "It is," Zara admitted. "Humans feel so much, so strongly. It's beautiful, but also painful." Through the large windows, Alex could see snow clouds gathering in the sky. Winter was coming early this year, and he wondered how well Zara's hover chair would work in the cold. "Are you okay?" he asked. "With everything, I mean, the staring, the comments." Zara was quiet for a long moment. "I came here because I believed humans were brave," she said finally. "I studied your history, your stories of courage and kindness. I wanted to learn from you, and now I wonder if I made a mistake." Alex felt something break inside his chest. Here was someone who had traveled across space to learn from humanity, and this was the welcome she received. He thought about Derek's cruel words, about the phones recording her pain, about his own silence when she needed someone to speak up. "Not all humans are like that," he said, though the words felt weak. "How do I know which ones are different?" Zara asked. Alex didn't have an answer. He had spent 3 years at the school being invisible, avoiding conflict, keeping his head down. He had never been the kind of person who stood up for others. But looking at Zara now, seeing the hope slowly dying in her silver eyes, he felt something changing inside him. The lunch bell rang, and students began clearing their tables. As they walked back to class, Alex noticed Derek and his friends following them, phones out, recording everything. He heard them laughing, planning something for later. That afternoon, as the final bell rang and students rushed toward the exits, Alex made a decision that would change everything. Instead of disappearing into the crowd like he always did, he stayed close to Zara. He couldn't protect her from the stares or the whispers, but he could make sure she didn't face them alone. Outside, the first snowflakes of winter began to fall, dancing in the cold air like tiny stars. Alex watched them land on Zara's blue skin, where they glowed briefly before melting away. He didn't know it yet, but those snowflakes were just the beginning of something that would test both their courage in ways they never imagined. The story was just beginning, and winter was coming fast. 3 weeks had passed since Zara first walked through the doors of Riverside High School, and things had gotten worse. Much worse. Alex noticed it first in the way her skin had changed. The beautiful blue glow that had made her look like a living constellation was now dull and gray, like a flower wilting in darkness, her hover chair, which once moved with graceful confidence, now hesitated at corners and doorways, as if she was afraid of what waited around each turn. The harassment had started small, whispered comments in hallways, phones pointed in her direction during lunch. But Derek and his friends had turned cruelty into an art form, and social media had become their weapon of choice. "Check this out," Derek said to his friend Tony during chemistry class, holding up his phone. On the screen was a video of Zara struggling to reach a book from a high shelf in the library. The caption read, "When aliens can't even alien properly." It already had 200 likes. Alex, sitting 2 rows behind them, felt his stomach twist. He had been in the library that day, had watched Zara try to reach that book for 5 minutes before finally asking for help. He could have helped her himself, but he had been too scared of drawing attention. "Dude, this is getting out of hand," Tony said, though he was still smiling at the video. "Are you kidding? This is hilarious," Derek replied. "Besides, someone needs to show people what we're really dealing with. They sent us their reject." The teacher called for attention, but Derek kept scrolling through his phone, showing Tony more posts. There were memes comparing Zara to broken robots, photos of her eating lunch alone with cruel captions, even a fake petition to send the defective alien back where it came from. Each post got hundreds of likes and shares. Students who had never even spoken to Zara were commenting with laughing emojis and fire symbols. The whole school was turning into one giant comedy show, and Zara was the joke. During lunch that day, Alex sat at his usual table, watching Zara eat alone by the windows. She had stopped trying to sit with other students after the third group had gotten up and moved when she approached. Now she ate in silence, her large eyes staring out at the parking lot. "Poor thing," said a girl named Lisa, sitting at the table next to Alex. "I actually feel bad for her." "Then why don't you go sit with her?" asked her friend Kevin. Lisa shrugged. "I don't want to get involved. You know how Derek gets when people interfere with his fun." Alex knew exactly how Derek got. Last week, a freshman named Danny had tried to help Zara pick up her books after Derek's friend had accidentally bumped into her. Within hours, Danny's locker had been filled with trash, and someone had spread rumors that he had a crush on the alien freak. The message was clear: help Zara, and you become a target. Alex pushed his food around his plate. Not really hungry. He had been having trouble sleeping lately, plagued by dreams where he found the courage to speak up, only to wake up and realize he was still the same scared kid who hid in the shadows. After lunch, he was walking to his next class when he heard shouting from the main hallway. A crowd had gathered, phones out, recording something. Alex pushed through the group and saw what was happening. Zara was in the middle of the circle, her hover chair spinning in place. Derek and his friends had somehow hacked into her chair's control system, making it spin faster and faster while she tried desperately to stop it. "Make it stop," Zara called out, her voice filled with panic. The spinning was making her sick, her blue skin turning an alarming shade of green. "What's wrong, Space Girl?" Derek laughed. "Can't handle a little Earth gravity?" Students were recording everything, some laughing, others looking uncomfortable, but doing nothing to help. Alex stood frozen at the edge of the crowd, his heart pounding. He knew he should do something, say something, but his feet felt like they were made of stone. Finally, a teacher appeared and broke up the scene. Mr. Johnson, the gym teacher, helped. Zara stopped her chair and asked if she was okay. She nodded weakly, but Alex could see tears in her silver eyes. "Show's over," Mr. Johnson said to the crowd. "Get to class." As students scattered, Alex heard the whispers following them. "Did you see how green she got? That was so funny. I can't wait to see the video." Alex followed Zara to their next class, staying far enough behind that no one would think they were together. He watched her shoulders shake as she tried to compose herself, and something inside him cracked a little more. That evening, Alex sat in his room doing homework when his phone buzzed. A notification from Instagram. Someone had tagged him in a video. His blood ran cold as he opened it. It was footage from the hallway incident, but edited to make it look even worse. The caption read, even her boyfriend won't help her. The video had been slowed down to show Alex standing in the crowd, watching, doing nothing. The comments were brutal. Look at Ghost Boy just standing there. Even he knows she's a freak. Smart guy, staying away from the alien. Alex's hand shook as he read comment after comment. They were right. He had stood there. He had watched someone who trusted him get humiliated, and he had done nothing. The next morning, Alex arrived at school early, hoping to avoid the crowds. He found Zara in the library, sitting alone at a table covered with books about human culture and history. She looked up as he approached, and he saw something in her eyes that made his chest hurt. I've been studying, she said quietly, trying to understand why humans act this way. Find any answers? Alex asked, sitting down across from her. Zara closed one of the books, a thick volume about Earth's history. Your species has always been divided, she said. You fear what you don't understand, and you attack when you're afraid. Not all of us, Alex said, though the words felt hollow. The ones who aren't cruel often stay silent, Zara replied, and Alex felt like she was looking straight through him. I've been reading about your wars, your conflicts. It's always the same pattern. The strong hurt the weak, and the decent people watch it happen. Alex stared at his hands. I'm sorry. For what? For not helping. For being a coward. Zara was quiet for a long moment. I came here because I believed humans were brave, she said finally. I studied your stories, your heroes. I read about people who stood up for what was right, even when it was dangerous. Those are just stories, Alex said. Are they? Zara asked. Or are they examples of what humans can be when they choose courage over fear? The bell rang, ending their conversation, but Zara's words stayed with Alex throughout the day. He found himself thinking about the heroes she had mentioned, people who had faced down bigger, stronger enemies because it was the right thing to do. During lunch, Alex watched Derek post another video of Zara, this one showing her dropping her books in the hallway. The caption read, Gravity, 1, Alien, 0. It already had 50 likes. And lunch period wasn't even half over. Alex looked across the cafeteria at Zara, eating alone again, her skin dimmer than ever. He thought about what she had said about humans choosing courage over fear. He thought about the heroes in the stories she had read, and wondered if any of them had ever felt as scared as he did right now, outside. The first real snow of winter was beginning to fall, covering the ground in a blanket of white. Alex watched. The flakes danced past the windows and felt something changing inside him. He wasn't sure what it was yet, but it felt like the beginning of something important. The question was, would he be brave enough to see it through? Winter was coming, and, with it, a test that would change everything. The weather report that morning had called for light snow, but by noon, the sky had turned dark gray and angry. Wind howled against the classroom windows, and snowflakes swirled like tiny dancers gone wild. Principal Williams made the announcement over the intercom just after lunch. School was closing early due to the approaching storm. Alex packed his backpack slowly, watching through the window as the parking lot filled with parents picking up their kids. Buses lined up in neat rows, their engines running to keep warm. Students rushed past him in the hallway, excited about the unexpected early dismissal and talking about sledding and snowball fights. He was thinking about the warmth of home, about hot chocolate and his mom's homemade soup, when he heard Derek's voice echoing from the main courtyard. This is perfect, Derek was saying to his friends. Nobody's around to stop us. Alex's stomach dropped. He knew that tone. Derek was planning something, and it wasn't good. Moving quietly, Alex made his way toward the courtyard doors. Through the glass, he could see Derek and 3 of his friends surrounding something blue and glowing. Sarah. Her hover chair was stuck in a snowbank, tilted at an awkward angle. The snow was deeper than anyone had expected, and her chair's systems were clearly struggling with the cold. Small sparks flickered around the edges of her seat, and the usually smooth hum of her device sounded rough and broken. Having trouble, Space Girl? Derek laughed, pulling out his phone. This is going to be epic content. Please, Zara said, her voice barely audible over the wind. My chair is malfunctioning. I can't get out. That's not our problem, said Tony, Derek's closest friend. Maybe you should have stayed on your own planet. Brittany, the girl who always recorded everything, was already filming. This is so going viral. She said, alien gets stuck in Earth's snow. The irony is perfect. Alex watched from behind the glass doors as Derek and his friends pushed Zara's chair deeper into the snow. Each push made the sparks around her seat brighter, and Alex could see real fear in her silver eyes. Her chair wasn't just stuck anymore. It was breaking. Stop, Zara said, her voice stronger now. You're damaging my mobility device. So? Derek shrugged. Call your alien friends to come fix it. The four students laughed and started walking away, leaving Zara alone in the courtyard. The snow was falling harder now, and Alex could see her shivering. Her blue skin was turning almost white from the cold. This was the moment Alex had been dreading for weeks. The moment when he would have to choose between his own safety and doing what was right. Every instinct told him to walk away, to pretend. He hadn't seen anything. Derek and his friends were already gone. No one would know he had been here. But as he watched Zara struggle helplessly in the snow, something his grandmother had told him years ago echoed in his mind. She had been talking about her own childhood, about watching neighbors being treated badly and doing nothing to help. Courage isn't about not being scared, Alex, she had said. It's about doing the right thing even when you are scared, because that's when it matters most. His grandmother had been gone for 2 years now, but her words hit him like a punch. To the chest, how many times had he watched Zara suffer and done nothing? How many times had he told himself he was just being smart, staying safe? Alex took a deep breath and pushed open the courtyard doors. The cold hit him like a wall, and snow immediately began sticking to his jacket. He walked across the courtyard, his shoes crunching in the snow, his heart hammering so hard he was sure Zara could hear it. Hey, he said when he reached her. Are you okay? Zara looked up at him, surprise clear in her eyes. Alex, what are you doing here? Helping, he said. Though his voice shook, if you let me, for a moment. Zara just stared at him. Alex realized this was the first time in weeks that anyone had offered to help her, without being asked by a teacher or forced by circumstances. The chair is stuck, she said finally, and I think the cold is affecting its systems. Alex knelt down next to the hover chair, trying to figure out how to help. The device was unlike anything he had ever seen, with smooth curves and lights that pulsed in patterns he didn't understand. But the problem was simple enough. It was wedged deep in the snow, and the cold was causing the machinery to malfunction. Can you turn it off? He asked. If I do, I won't be able to move at all, Zara said. My people need these devices to function in your gravity. Alex nodded, understanding. He began digging around the chair with his hands, trying to clear the snow. The cold bit at his fingers, but he kept working, slowly, carefully. He managed to free one side of the chair. Try now, he said. Zara pressed something on the armrest, and the chair lifted slightly, but then tilted dangerously to one side. Alex caught it before it could tip over completely. We need to work together, he said. I'll guide it while you control the power. As they worked, something strange happened. For just a moment, Alex felt a warm presence in his mind, not intrusive or frightening, just there, like a gentle hand on his shoulder. I'm sorry, Zara said quickly. Pulling back, I didn't mean to connect with you when I'm scared or grateful. Sometimes my thoughts reach out. It's okay, Alex said, and he meant it. In that brief moment, he had felt something he had never experienced before, a connection to another person that went beyond words. He had sensed her fear, her gratitude, and something else. Her memories. In that flash of connection, Alex saw images that took his breath away. Zara as a child, playing in crystal forests that sparkled like diamonds. Zara in school, always the smartest student, always helping others. And then, the accident. She had been walking home from school when she saw a building collapsing. 3 younger children were trapped inside, crying for help. Without thinking, Zara had used her natural abilities to hold up the falling structure long enough for the children to escape. but the effort had damaged something inside her. The part of her brain that controlled her gravity abilities. She hadn't been born different. She had become different because she chose to save others. Alex stared at her with new understanding. "You're a hero," he said quietly. Zara looked confused. "What? The accident? You saved those children. That's how you got hurt." Zara's eyes widened. "You saw that when we connected. You're not broken, Zara. You're the bravest person I've ever met, for the first time in weeks." Zara's skin began to glow a little brighter. "I came to Earth to learn about courage," she said. "I thought humans were the bravest species in the galaxy." "Some of us are," Alex said, "and some of us are learning to be, working together." They finally freed the chair from the snow. The systems were still sparking, but it was stable enough to get Zara inside where she could warm up and call for help. As they made their way toward the school entrance, Alex realized that everything had changed. Not just for Zara, but for him too. He had faced his fear and chosen to help someone who needed it. He had seen the real person behind the blue skin and the floating chair. "Thank you," Zara said as they reached the doors, "for helping me, for seeing me. Thank you for letting me," Alex replied. They were both soaked and shivering, but as they walked into the warm school building, Alex felt something he hadn't felt in years. He felt proud of himself. Behind them, the snow continued to fall, covering their footprints and the place where a friendship had been born. Neither of them knew that Derek's group had been watching from the parking lot, or that Brittany had filmed the entire rescue. But for the first time since Zara had arrived at Riverside High School, Alex wasn't thinking about what others might do or say. He was thinking about what he would do next, and how he could help his new friend face whatever came tomorrow. The storm was getting worse, but inside the school, something warm and bright was beginning to grow. The video appeared online at 6 in the morning, 3 days after the snowstorm. Alex was eating breakfast when his phone started buzzing nonstop with notifications, text messages, social media tags, missed calls. His quiet digital life had exploded overnight. His younger sister Maya looked up from her cereal. "Why is your phone going crazy?" Alex opened his social media app with shaking hands. The video was everywhere, but it wasn't what he expected. Instead of the usual cruel content Derek posted, this video showed something different. It showed Alex helping Zara out of the snow, working together to fix her chair, walking side by side toward the school. Someone had filmed it from the parking lot, probably expecting to catch another moment of humiliation. But the comments weren't what Derek had planned. Finally, someone with a heart. "This guy is what humanity should be. Why did it take so long for someone to help her? Real hero right here." The video had been shared hundreds of times overnight, and it kept growing. Alex stared at his phone in disbelief. For the first time since Zara arrived, people were talking about kindness instead of cruelty. But not everyone was happy about it. At school that morning, Alex could feel eyes on him everywhere he went. Some students smiled and nodded. Others whispered and pointed. The attention felt strange and uncomfortable. He had spent 3 years being invisible, and now he was the most talked about person in school. He found Zara at her locker and immediately noticed the change in her. Her blue skin was glowing brighter than it had in weeks. The silver patterns in her eyes moved like calm water instead of the storms he had seen before. "Did you see?" she asked, showing him her own phone. "People are sharing the video. They're saying nice things." "Yeah," Alex said, still processing it all. "Weird, right?" "Not weird," Zara said. "Hopeful." Their first class together was physics, and Alex noticed something different as they walked in. Instead of the usual empty seats around Zara, 2 students were already sitting nearby. Jessica Chen, a quiet girl from the art club, and David Park, who Alex knew from the chess team. "Mind if we work together on the group project?" Jessica asked Zara. "I heard you understand gravity in ways we don't." Zara's face lit up. "I would love that." During lunch, more students approached their table. Some were genuinely interested in learning about Ketilia. Others admitted they had felt bad about the treatment Zara received but hadn't known how to help. "I wanted to say something before," said a girl named Rachel, "but I was scared Derek would turn on me too." Fear makes cowards of us all, Zara said gently. But courage is contagious. When one person is brave, it helps others find their own. Bravery! Alex felt a warm glow in his chest. The isolation was finally breaking. After weeks of eating alone, Zara was surrounded by curious, friendly faces. But Derek wasn't going to let his power slip away without a fight. During fourth period, Alex was called to the principal's office. He walked through the hallways feeling nervous, wondering if he was in trouble somehow. When he arrived, he found Derek already sitting there, along with his parents and Principal Williams. Alex, please sit down, Principal Williams said. Derek has made some serious accusations. Derek's father, a tall man in an expensive suit, leaned forward. My son says your friend has been using her alien abilities to manipulate students' minds. He claims she's been controlling people, making them like her. Alex stared at Derek in shock. That's completely false, is it? Derek said, his voice smooth and confident. How else do you explain everyone suddenly changing their minds about her? Yesterday, everyone knew she was weird and dangerous. Today, they're all acting like she's some kind of angel. Maybe because people saw someone actually helping her instead of hurting her. Alex shot back. Derek's mother spoke up. We're concerned about the safety of the students. If this alien has mind control powers, shouldn't there be restrictions? Principal Williams looked tired. Mrs. Martinez, we've been through this. Zara's abilities are limited telepathic senses. She can't control anyone's thoughts or actions. So you say, Derek's father replied. But how can we really know? We're talking about an alien creature with unknown capabilities. Alex felt anger rising in his chest. She's not a creature. She's a person, and she's never hurt anyone. Calm down, Alex, Principal Williams said. Derek, do you have any actual evidence of mind control? Derek hesitated. Well, no, but look at how fast things changed. It's not natural. What's not natural is how she was treated before, Alex said, finding courage he didn't know he had. Maybe people are just tired of being cruel. The meeting ended with no action taken against Zara, but Alex could see this was far from over. Derek was losing his social power, and he was getting desperate. That afternoon, things escalated. Alex was walking to his locker when he heard shouting from the main hallway. A crowd had gathered, and he could see phones being raised to record whatever was happening. In the center of the circle, Derek stood face to face with Alex, blocking his path. There he is, Derek announced loudly, the alien lover himself. The hallway went quiet except for the sound of recording phones. Alex's heart started racing, but he didn't back down. What do you want, Derek? I want to know what she's paying you, Derek said, stepping closer. Money, alien technology? Or is she just messing with your head like she's doing to everyone else? Nobody's messing with anyone's head, Alex replied. People are just choosing to be decent human beings. Derek laughed, but it sounded forced. Decent? You call betraying your own species decent? She's not one of us, Alex. She'll never be one of us. Good, Alex said, surprising himself with his boldness. If being one of us means being like you, I'd rather be different, the crowd murmured. Some students were nodding in agreement. Derek's face was turning red. You think you're some kind of hero. Derek stepped even closer. You're nothing. You've always been nothing. A ghost who nobody notices or cares about. You're right, Alex said quietly. I was invisible. I was scared. I watched you hurt someone who didn't deserve it, and I did nothing. But I'm done being that person. Derek raised his hand, and for a moment Alex thought he was going to get punched. But then a voice cut through the tension. That's enough. Zara glided through the crowd, her chair moving with quiet dignity. Her skin was glowing brighter than Alex had ever seen it, and her silver eyes were fixed on Derek. This is between me and him, Derek said, but his voice had lost some of its confidence. No. Zara said calmly, this is about choice. You can choose to keep spreading hate, or you can choose to be better. Alex chose to be better. Others are choosing to be better. What will you choose? Derek looked around the circle of students. Many of them were looking at him with disappointment instead of admiration. His power over them was cracking. I choose To protect my school from aliens who don't belong here, he said. But even he seemed to know how weak it sounded. I belong wherever I choose to belong. Zara replied, and I choose to belong here, with friends who see me as I really am. She looked at Alex, and he felt that warm connection again, brief but strong. And he sensed her gratitude, her friendship, and something else, her belief in him. Come on, Alex, she said. Let's go study for tomorrow's physics test. As they walked away together, Alex heard the whispers following them, but for the first time. Most of them were positive. Did you see Derek's face? Alex totally stood up to him. About time someone called Derek out. Maybe the alien girl isn't so bad after all. Derek shouted after them, "This isn't over." But his voice echoed in a hallway that was already emptying, students losing interest in his anger. That evening, Alex sat in his room doing homework when his phone buzzed with a text from Zara. "Thank you for standing with me today on my world. We have a saying, a friend who stands beside you in the storm is worth more than 100 who only visit in sunshine. You are worth more than 100, Alex Rivera." Alex smiled and typed back, "Thank you for teaching me what courage looks like." Outside his window, the last of the storm clouds were clearing, revealing stars that seemed to twinkle with promise. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but Alex was no longer facing them alone. The invisible boy had found his voice, and he wasn't planning to be quiet anymore. 2 weeks later, Riverside High School was buzzing with excitement about the Winter Cultural Festival. It was an annual event where students shared traditions from their families and backgrounds. But this year was special. For the first time in the school's history, they would have a presentation from another world. Zara had been working on her presentation for days, creating holographic displays that showed the crystal forest of Ketelia, the floating cities, and the peaceful way her people lived. Alex had been helping her prepare, learning more about her world than he ever imagined possible. "Are you nervous?" Alex asked as they set up her equipment in the gymnasium. "A little," Zara admitted. "This is my chance to show humans who my people really are. Not just the broken alien they've been seeing, but a representative of an entire civilization." Her skin was glowing bright blue again, healthier than it had been since her first day. The silver patterns in her eyes moved like gentle streams, calm and confident. The friendship she had built with Alex and the growing acceptance from other students had healed something deep inside her. But not everyone was happy about the changes. Derek had been quieter since their confrontation in the hallway, but Alex knew he was planning something. Derek's group had been whispering in corners, shooting angry looks at anyone who talked to Zara. His social media posts had become more desperate, trying to convince people that the school was making a mistake. "We can't trust her," Derek had posted that morning. "She's fooled all of you. But I see what she really is. Tonight, I'll prove it." Alex showed the post to Zara, worried about what Derek might do. "He's scared," Zara said simply. "When people are losing power, they become dangerous. But I won't let fear stop me from sharing my world with yours." The festival began at 7 in the evening. The gymnasium was packed with students, parents, and teachers. Colorful displays filled the room, representing dozens of countries and cultures. There were tables with food from around the world, music from different continents, and stories that crossed oceans and generations. Zara's presentation was scheduled for 8:30. Giving her time to visit other displays first, Alex walked with her, watching as she genuinely engaged with each cultural booth. She tried Mexican food for the first time, listened to African drumming with wonder, and asked thoughtful questions about Japanese art. "Your species is so beautifully diverse," she told Mrs. Chen, who was explaining Chinese calligraphy. "On Ketelia, we are more unified in our ways. I think there is strength in your differences." As they moved through the crowd, Alex noticed something wonderful happening. Students who had once stared at Zara with fear or disgust were now approaching her with curiosity and respect. Parents asked questions about her world. Little kids looked at her with the same wonder they might show a fairy tale princess. "Look how far we've come," Alex whispered to her. But across the room, Derek was gathering his remaining loyal friends, Tony, Brittany, and a few others huddled around him as he whispered urgently. Alex couldn't hear what they were saying, but their faces looked determined and angry. When it was time for Zara's presentation, a large crowd gathered in front of the small stage. Principal Williams introduced her warmly, talking about the historic nature of the evening and the importance of understanding between different worlds. Zara glided onto the stage, her hover chair moving with elegant grace. She touched a device on her armrest, and suddenly the air above her filled with shimmering images. Crystal trees that looked like living diamonds, cities that floated among the clouds like dreams made real, people with blue skin like hers, moving through the air with natural grace. My world is called Catelia, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the silent gymnasium. We are a peaceful people who live in harmony with our environment. Our cities float so that the crystal forests below can grow undisturbed. The images shifted, showing Catelian children playing among the crystal branches, their laughter like wind chimes. Alex watched the audience, seeing wonder and amazement on every face. We came to your world because we believe in the power of friendship between different species, Zara continued. We studied your history, your art, your music. We were amazed by your courage, your creativity, your ability to overcome challenges. More images appeared, showing Catelian libraries filled with earth books, Catelian artists creating sculptures, inspired by human architecture, Catelian scientists studying human innovations. But we also wanted to share what we've learned about living in peace, Zara said. On Catelia, we believe that differences make us stronger, not weaker. We believe that helping others is the highest form of courage. The final image showed the accident from Zara's childhood, but not as Alex had seen it in her memories. This version showed the aftermath, the 3 children she had saved, now grown up, working as teachers and healers and artists. Her sacrifice had rippled outward, creating good in the world for years to come. I came to Earth hoping to learn about human bravery, Zara said, looking directly at Alex. And I found it in the most unexpected place, not in the strong or the popular, but in someone who chose kindness when it was difficult, someone who stood beside me when I needed a friend. The crowd was completely silent, hanging on every word. That person taught me that heroism isn't about being fearless, Zara continued. It's about choosing to do what's right, even when you are afraid. It's about standing up for others, especially when they can't stand up for themselves. Scattered applause began, growing louder as more people joined in. Alex felt his face burning with embarrassment and pride. But then Derek stepped forward from the crowd. Don't let her fool you, he called out, his voice cutting through the applause. This is all a lie, a performance designed to make you trust her. The gymnasium went quiet again, but this time the silence felt tense and uncomfortable. Derek, please, Principal Williams said. This isn't the time or place. When is the time? Derek demanded. When she's taken over all of our minds, when we're all dancing to her alien tune? He looked around the room desperately, seeking support, but most faces looked back at him with disappointment or embarrassment. Zara held up her hand gently. It's okay, she said. Derek has every right to be cautious. Trust should be earned, not demanded. She turned to face Derek directly. You're afraid that I'm different from you. You're right, I am different. But being different doesn't make me dangerous. Derek's face was red with frustration. You're manipulating everyone's emotions. I can feel it. Yes, Zara said simply. And the crowd murmured in surprise. I can sense emotions. It's natural for my people. And do you know what I sense from you, Derek? Derek took a step back, suddenly looking uncertain. Fear, Zara said gently. Fear that you're losing control. Fear that people might like me more than they like you. Fear that kindness might be more powerful than cruelty. The gymnasium was so quiet that Alex could hear his own heartbeat. But underneath all that fear, Zara continued, I sense something else. I sense someone who wants to be good but doesn't know how. Someone who learned that being mean was easier than being vulnerable. Derek's hands were shaking now. Stop it. Stop reading my mind. I'm not reading your mind, Zara said. I'm reading your heart. And your heart is tired, Derek. Tired of being angry all the time. Tired of making others feel small to make yourself feel big. For a moment, Derek just stood there, his mouth opening and closing like he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Then, to everyone's shock, his eyes filled with tears. "I don't know how to stop," he whispered. The words were so quiet that only the people closest to the stage could hear them. But Zara heard them. She guided her chair down from the stage and glided toward Derek. The crowd parted to let her through, everyone holding their breath. When she reached him, she extended her hand. "You don't have to be perfect," she said. "You just have to be willing to try something different." Derek stared at her hand for a long moment. Alex could see the war happening inside him. Years of learned behavior fighting against the possibility of change. Finally, slowly, Derek reached out and took her hand. The moment their skin touched, something happened that no one expected. Zara's natural telepathic abilities created a brief connection between them. And suddenly Derek could feel what she felt, her loneliness during those first weeks, her fear when she was trapped in the snow, her gratitude when Alex helped her, her hope for friendship between their worlds. But more than that, he could feel her forgiveness. Despite everything he had done to her, she held no anger in her heart, only understanding and compassion. Derek broke down completely then, sobbing in front of the entire school. "I'm sorry," he said over and over. "I'm so sorry." Zara didn't say anything. She just held his hand and let him feel that he wasn't alone. The gymnasium erupted in applause, but it was different from before. It wasn't just appreciation for a good presentation. It was celebration of something much more powerful. The moment when hatred transformed into understanding. 6 months later, the exchange program between Earth and Catelia was officially expanded. Zara chose to stay at Riverside High School for the rest of the academic year, serving as an ambassador between worlds.